There's a saying that an Irish historian came up with, that growing up in Ireland meant preparing to leave it. Well, equally, I think we could say that growing up in Scotland meant preparing to leave it, because for generations, for centuries, the Scots have had a wanderlust and a tendency to settle in many other locations, many overseas locations, and it's some of those experiences that we're going to look at in this course. In the 19th century, we think around 2 million Scots emigrated. A further 2 million emigrated in the 20th century. But the story of the Scottish diaspora goes back a long way before that. It goes back to medieval times. We want to look at emigration from the rural lowlands, from the urban lowlands. We want to look at emigration over really 2.5 centuries. So the key questions are: why did people go? Who were these people? Where did they come from? Where did they go to? How did they actually implement the decision to leave? What were the various manifestations of their settlement or their sojourn? What was the impact of their relocation? What were the attitudes of the donor society, the host society, the participants, the emigrants themselves? And what were what have been the long-term legacies of their emigration? Well, obviously a key transferable skill would be the ability, we hope to inculcate in students, to analyse sources, to evaluate sources. And I'm talking here about documentary sources, visual materials, oral testimony. And through that training in analytical skills, we would hope that students would be able to weigh up stereotypes and to be able to see that some of the narratives about Scottish emigration are indeed stereotypes or caricatures, and they'll be able to see their way through that, and really to be able to understand better and more deeply the nature of Scottish emigration, of the Scottish diaspora, so that whether they're applying that knowledge to the overseas locations where they live, or to Scotland if they live in Scotland, or to Scotland if they come here on a visit, it would just be, the course would be able to give them a rich experience from which they can benefit. This is a 100% online course, so we have a variety of media through which we teach. We have each week a package of materials and activities, and these might include mini lectures, audio lectures, which are often accompanied by PowerPoint slides. We might have interviews in which academic colleagues talk with me about different aspects of the Scottish diaspora. We have video clips, we have key readings from primary sources and from secondary sources. In terms of assessment, we're looking at a reflective journal rather, that students compile every second week, and that constitutes, over the 6 weeks in which they compile the journal, 60% of the overall assessment for the course. The remaining 40% is an essay which they submit towards the end of the course in week 12. But as well as those assessments, we do encourage students to contribute throughout the course to the discussion boards, so that they speak to each other, speak to me, and just engage in a dialogue about all elements, all aspects of the course.